2007, my parents intentionally overdosed together. They ended their lives together. Wow. Yeah, totally the worst. I mean, just, you can't even imagine. I was 23 when that happened, and my sister was 18. We found them. And they left these little notes written on the kitchen magnet notepad, and it just said, take care of each other, as if a 23-year-old and an 18-year-old would know how to do that.
Oh, I just got chills. I'm so sorry.
And it was, the thing is that my addiction stepped in when my parents died, and it became my parent. It didn't only become my parent, it became my guiding star. It became my higher power. So I didn't have room for God in my life because addiction was my God.
Yeah, you had one.
Yeah, and it just threw me for a loop. It made me abandon everything in my life. I left my sister. I moved across the country. I said that I couldn't deal. I decided that I was going to become the perpetrator in people's storylines. I was no longer going to be a victim. I was done being a victim in my life, and I didn't even know that there are other roles to play. I thought that it was only perpetrator and victim. And so I decided to be the abuser, and I abused people. Intentionally, maliciously traumatized other people because I wanted them to hurt as deeply and badly as I hurt.
Why do you believe that you chose this life, this blueprint, those parents? Because so many people watching and listening, when I say, you chose this, I do this to my kids all the time. When they start fighting with each other, I'll go, well, you chose your sister. I'm like, no, I didn't. One of my kids she always says, like, it's just a wheel. It's a wheel of chance. I'm like, so is there a giant cosmic wheel? Well, if there is, then who's pulling it? And she goes, oh, just shut up, Dad. Go do your dead people talking show. Love children. So many people listening it really triggers them when you say you chose this life, because they're only looking at it from the human perspective, not the soul perspective. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. If someone would have told me that I chose my life, I would have punched them in the face. It would have been like lights out. It would have been really bad. But for me today, I know that I chose the life path that I'm on because heaven is really boring, and my soul is this Spanish novella scriptwriter, and she was like, let's do it all while we have a chance.
Spanish novella scriptwriter. That's awesome.
Every storyline that could happen in a person's life has happened in my life.
Has your evil twin come back from the dead?
I'm telling you.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
So why do you think why do you think you did this? Why did you think you went down this? This is not an easy path. What you're talking, and you've only given me some Cliff Notes versions of that. You haven't given me details. I can only imagine how difficult that path is. A path of addiction is horrendous, but it seems like that was just one of the many ingredients in your recipe you put together.
Yes.
And the Spanish novella scriptwriter you got on the other side.
So, the life lesson of addiction is brutal, but it also comes with the dual experience of recovery. So some souls don't get an opportunity to experience both parts of the lesson.
Like your parents.
Like my parents, exactly. Right. So what I do is I heal not only for myself, but for them too. And for the generations and generations in my particular family line, in family lines of people that I'll never know, never encounter. As I take on this intense healing, it's not just for me, it's for the whole collective. And having that idea keeps me going. Because if I thought that it was just for me, I might not. I might just give up and say it's too much.
So you're saying, it's really interesting. You're talking now about ancestral drama that is in our bloodlines, and that we carry those things along. So there could be generations of abuse, generations of addiction, and it takes one soul to break the cycle. And when they do, it does ripple. Even on a small standpoint, like what you're talking about, I heard that once a person becomes enlightened, they just erase karma for how many generations forward and backwards. I heard, this is something I heard from the Vedic text. So you're doing something similar. And if it's not even as grandiose as like when Jesus did it or something like that, it does stop it. and the next generation can come in without having to deal with it. Very Bruce Lee, the dragon kind of thing.
And you know what? These are all stories, right? Yeah. So this is the story that I tell myself because it makes my human experience a joyful one. So if somebody thinks another kind of narrative,
correct,
they're allowed to have that narrative too. This is what makes me feel like I have purpose here. And that's why I stay centered in spiritual awareness, spiritual principles, recovery, open-mindedness, I want to be the ancestor that people in my family pray to one day and say, oof, I need Aunt Betty's help.
To watch the full video, click on the link below. And don't forget to subscribe.